With you here on SportsCenter, you're looking at live images right now from Oklahoma's Pro Day. Kyler Murray will not run, will not be measured in terms of his height. He's going to stand by his combine height of 5'10" and 1/8 inch, but he was weighed earlier 205 pounds, 2 pounds lighter than he was at the combine just a couple of weeks ago. Moments ago, as we await for him to throw, Marty Smith caught up with his former head coach.
Here with Oklahoma head coach Lincoln Riley. Before we get to today, I want to go back a couple years. You and Coach Stoops and the staff are sitting in a room watching tape on potential transfers, and there's a young man on that tape. What did you see, and why was he the right guy?
I just saw a dynamic skill set, that he was still young and was making some mistakes, but you could see the arm, you could see just an elite movement that I'd really never seen at that position before. And I still really at that point never felt like it. Height was really a factor for him. He just needed some experience. And so, glad we chose him. We were lucky at that point. We had 3 pretty good options, but we definitely got the right guy for us.
There's been some question about the interviews he did at the Combine and leadership and character and all of those things. You know him better than any of us do. What's your message to these NFL GMs about who Kyler Murray is?
Just get to know him. Get to know him. Watch the tape. Talk to his teammates. Talk to his coaches. If you truly do your homework, you'll find out that you got a guy that loves the game, that's a winner, that's one of the more dynamic skill sets that has ever entered the draft, especially at this position. A guy that started 58 games in his career and won 56 of them. You just go on down the list. The guy's awesome. And so if somebody, if somebody thought that, then they don't know him very well.
You noted that skill set. It is remarkable, absolutely remarkable. What do you think his ceiling is in the NFL? What's he going to do?
No, he could do anything. There's nothing in that game that he couldn't accomplish. He changes the game. When he's back there playing quarterback for you, it's just a different game. And whoever's smart enough to draft him will see that. And and then more than anything, this kid's so committed to football. What he turned down on the baseball end, that was a guarantee to come back and play this game and do what he loves to do. It's remarkable, but it speaks to how committed he is to this, and somebody's going to love having him just like we have here at Oklahoma.
Can't thank you enough for your time and insight.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, brother. Guys.
All right, thank you, Marty Smith. Again, Kyler Murray will not run the 40, but will throw. He's expected to start throwing in the 1 o'clock hour. We will bring it to you live. The second he steps up and starts throwing that rock, we'll have it for you here on SportsCenter, so keep it locked.
That will do it. A blowout by the Rockets, the first of 4 meetings.
Down to 3, down to 2, it's a 3. Good! James Harden, a flamethrower!
What a win for the Houston Rockets. With no James Harden, they beat Golden State again.
Just got to be better.
I got drive like I work with Uber. Kicking like Curry, so respect the shoot. Your heart may harden the way I maneuver.
Warriors Rockets again tonight. We're giving it the treatment, detail, the groundbreaking sports analysis program brought to you by Kobe Bryant. It's back exclusively on ESPN Plus, and in this new episode, Kobe breaks down the NBA's leading scorer, James Harden. Here is an excerpt.
On this episode of Detail, we'll take a look at James Harden. This is when Houston is extremely dangerous. When you get on open court like this, you got a big that can run the floor like Capella can. Puts all the pressure in the world on the backside defense. All the pressure in the world. Right? Because now he's storming down the middle of the court. And that occupies that defensive player there. So James is already reading that. He's making that read right now. He's seeing these 3 players attack these 2. So he knows Capella sprints down this middle, splits these 2. Somebody's got to take him. It's not going to be Redick because he's on the strong side here with CP. Right? So it's got to be the weak side. And he's putting all the pressure in the world, Capella is, running right down the middle. And James just makes this read. So laser across court. Right? That forces Butler into rotation. This is when Houston's at their best. For more analysis, go to Detail on ESPN Plus.
2 opportunities to talk with Mike Wilbon in one show. It's more than anyone deserves. Let's talk Warriors Rockets, Mike. Facing off tonight for the 4th time this season on ESPN. So the Warriors have yet to beat the Rockets this season. They haven't won back-to-back games in a month, and they hit a real personal low losing at home to the Suns on Sunday, who were then a 15-win team. Mike, I understand that it is a regular season game, and this is the Warriors we're talking about. But based on the issues I just outlined, how much urgency do you want to see from them tonight?
Quite a bit, Elle. And, yes, it's a regular season game, but we're now in that sort of bell lap period where you hear every team talking about, how they feel going into the playoffs, even though we're talking about 15 more games or so for most of these teams. But I think tonight, if we start looking at it as who needs this game more? In the short term, the Warriors do, because they, as you mentioned, have already lost 3 times to the Rockets this season. Don't want to get swept, want to get this turned around, want to get some string of good play, if not actual wins going now. But if we're talking who's this game more important for long term, I would say the Houston Rockets. I mean, at some point, you've got to begin the psychological and emotional process of dealing with having lost each of the last few years to the Golden State Warriors. And I know there was the injury to Chris Paul last year. You can talk about extenuating circumstances, but the Rockets, it seems to me, are really the only team. People talk about how vulnerable the champs are. I think they're vulnerable really only to the Houston Rockets, not to Denver, for whom this is sort of a first rodeo. Maybe OKC, but mostly the Rockets. And the Rockets know that. And they seem mentally stronger this season now that they've gotten everybody back. But they they at home, playing this game at home, really ought to want to put their foot on the necks of the Golden State Warriors and start that process of building toward a playoff series that we presume will happen in the conference final. Houston doesn't have the second seed by any means yet, but at some point you would think we're going to see those two teams play each other in a series, and the Rockets know they need to have themselves absolutely ready to change the result of the last few postseasons.
And in particular, facing a Warriors team today that will probably be without Kevin Durant, that's featuring a Steph who is shooting an abysmal 31% from long distance compared to his career average of 43%. So we'll certainly see what happens tonight. Mike Wilbon's going to be on the jump a little later as well, talking more NBA action.
Thanks, Elle.
So let's get you, thank you, Mike. So let's get you that programming alert. Tonight's NBA Wednesday doubleheader starting in OKC. D'Angelo Russell and the Nets continuing their playoff push. I mean, that's a story no one's talking about, and it's crazy. Against Russ Westbrook and the Thunder, that's 7 Eastern. Then, of course, in H-Town, great matchup. Steph and the Dubs, James Harden and the Rockets, who've won 9 straight. Both those games on ESPN and on the ESPN app.
All right, we are at Oklahoma's Pro Day. There's a look at Marty Smith and the incoming quarterback, the transfer, Jalen Hurts. They'll be watching the outgoing Sooners QB, Kyler Murray, getting ready to throw this upcoming hour.